My name is Katrina, and today I'm going to be sharing a therapy material that I found online that's going to be targeting narrative interventions. So let's get started. So, the material that I'm going to be sharing with you guys and later demonstrating is called Searching for Home, Narrative Based Language Intervention Unit for Speech Therapy. And it was created by a company called Speechy Musings. It's available for download purchase for $15 on the website Teachers Pay Teachers. And I really liked this resource because there are 3 different levels of difficulty. So the first is going to be very simplified, which is also compatible for AAC use. The second is going to be the original context, original dialogue, original text and questions. And then the third is going to be actually more advanced. So it's going to have more complex sentence structure and more advanced vocabulary activities. But what's included in the material bundle is more than 25 different activities, graphic organizers for narrative structure, the elements of stories, and then informal assessment checklists. It's a lot of really great material that can be used for multiple things, such as story elements, sequencing events, narrative structure, creating complex sentences, combining sentences, going over vocabulary. But today we're really going to be focusing on narrative intervention. So this is the comic strip that the packet is based on, called Searching for Home. And the comic does not have any dialogue, it's only photos. So all the intervention is based off of pictures of interpreting and describing the photographs of what's happening in the comic. So if you want to take a moment now, I'm going to go ahead and pause for a couple seconds. But if you need longer, go ahead and pause the video and you can go through the actual comic strip, starting in the left corner, wrapping all the way around to the end. All right. So like I said before, I'm just going to show you quickly, this is what the informal assessment looks like, which is very useful if you're going to use the comic strip for narrative retell or story retell. And that's one way that you can do narrative intervention with this comic strip, is by having the students look at the comic strip and basically describe, using their language, what is happening in the comic, but in a narrative structure from beginning, middle to end. And this checklist is basically going to have all the components that are in narrative and checking if they're actually meeting all of those requirements. So if you want to take a moment and read this, I'll go ahead and pause, and I would pause the video to really do a thorough read through. So the second way that you can use this narrative intervention material is by actually having your student create their own narrative. So this means that you're not going to use the actual comic strip, but you are going to use these visual supports. So you're going to provide the student with a little icon. It says Searching for Home. That's the title of what our story is going to be. And you're going to inform the student, these are our characters, these are places in the story, these are the weather conditions on the correlated planets, along with some important verbs and key pointers of what did the characters say, what they thought, how they felt, and what did they want? What was the goal of the characters? So these are going to be the visual supports for a student who's going to generate their own narrative. At the very bottom, we also have a little graphic organizer of the sequence of the timeline. So we're going to have the beginning of the story, the middle, and the end, and then keywords that can be used to transition. So again, I'll take a moment to pause. Okay. So for our demonstration, this is what's going to be provided for our student as their visual support or graphic organizer to help facilitate them generating their story. Since it is harder for a student to generate a story without it being something that they're retelling or referring to, this is going to be very crucial for them to have some kind of guidance and support, because this is an area that is a challenge that's being worked on in therapy because they're unable to do it correctly. Basically, it's going to have in the very top line here, This is going to be our timeline of the story, which is blank for the students to jot down things as they want. And then we have it broken up right underneath as the beginning, who, where, when, what is the problem of the characters, the middle, what do they want, what are they going to do to solve this problem, and then our end, how is the problem solved, and then how does the story end or wrap up. And then also what was included in the handout for all the students I posted with our video is this graphic organizer that I created myself using icons from the packet, which basically is just another way of teaching the student and giving them a reference to refer to. All right, so I'm here with my student, Britton, and we've already had our pre-activity lesson. So we've already discussed narratives, the elements of a story, what components we need, and I already gave her the graphic organizers that we're going to be using for this session. And I'll show those organizers right here for a couple seconds, and then we'll start our activity. Today you're going to be creating a story, okay, and we have key components that are going to be a part of the story that you're going to make. I'm now going to refer to this visual support that's also located in the handout for the presentation. So the first one, the name of the story is going to be Searching for Home. Okay. All right, and then our two characters, we have Maya, a little girl, and then an alien. And then here we have parts of the story that you can include or even other stuff from your imagination. So a rocket, flashlight, 3 different planets, the alien's home, and Earth. Okay. And then we want to remember we have our beginning, middle, and end, and the key transition words that we want to use to transition through the story. All right, so I'll give you a couple minutes on your graphic organizer to brainstorm in the blank spots what you want to make for your story. Okay.
So the little girl is supposed to help the alien go home.
Yes.
Okay.
So that can be the problem, right? Is the alien's got to go home and he's lost.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you do a couple minutes to work on that. And then when you're ready, we'll go over your story.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready to share?
I think so.
All right. Let's hear it.
Okay. So first, there was an alien that came to Earth, and then he met a girl named Maya. The alien had never seen a girl before, so he was confused.
Okay.
And then he was sad because he realized that it wasn't his home. And then the alien asked Maya, the girl, to come help him and help him find his home.
Okay.
And then the alien took the girl to one planet, and there was lightning and clouds, but that wasn't his home. But I don't know what else to say.
Okay. So the main problem is the alien's trying to get home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Where do you think you're at in the story? In the beginning, the middle, or the end?
I think the middle.
Okay. There's room for more action, right?
Mhm.
There's more stuff can happen because they're nowhere near solving the problem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's use what we have over here from our idea page. There's some more planets maybe, or come up with something else like with your imagination.
Okay.
What else is in outer space? Maybe that can help. Give a clue.
So I think they went to a different planet.
Okay. What about our transition words? How could we say
Okay.
maybe next or
Next, they went to another planet, but a big asteroid hit the planet.
okay.
And they had to fly away really quickly before the planet exploded. And then they landed on an ice planet and they almost froze. And then finally, the girl Maya saw another planet, and the alien said, "That was my home."
Okay. Okay. So he saw it, that's his home. And
Mhm.
then how can we wrap up the story? Remember, we want to tie it all together. Are they gonna go to the planet then, right? And return him to his home?
Maya has to take him home.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
So then finally Maya takes the alien home, and then she gets to go home to Earth.
Perfect. Awesome. Very cool. I like your story. Okay, so let's use your graphic organizer again that you wrote down all these notes on. Let's do a recap again, for each of these little squares that we have down here for beginning, middle, and end, let's go through them just to go over what you came up with. So for setting the scene, what did you say?
So it's Maya and the alien, and the alien comes to Earth.
Okay.
And then the problem is that the alien needs to go home and Maya has to help him.
Okay. And then for the middle,
They have to find the planet in outer space, but the alien doesn't know how to get there.
right. Okay. And then all the action that you made was the middle part, the big chunk of action of what they did, right?
Yeah. So the alien takes Maya in his rocket ship,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go to outer space to look for the alien's home.
Okay. Perfect. And then the end was, what do we call the end?
So the solution to the problem is that they go to all the different planets,
Mm-hmm.
and then Maya finds the alien's planet and she takes him there so that he's at home, and then she gets to go back home to Earth.
Okay. Perfect. Great. And then you can use this same exact graphic organizer for any story, right?
Okay.
Use the same elements.
The beginning, middle, and end.
Yes. Awesome. Great job.